Y'all, what's going on, man? Let's get it, man. So Ohio State's playing Penn State. The game of the week, in my humble opinion, on Fox. Got James Franklin. And obviously, you got Ryan Dan. Big game for both teams, right? Ohio State already come in with a loss. Penn State, you're still undefeated. Got some really good news this week. Drew Aller is going to be able to play. He's going to be there for Penn State and Nittany Lions. You feel pretty good about it. So let's get into the matchup. Not bad. I also want to add in this is the second all-time meeting between these teams where it's ranked as top five or AP top five opponents as well. So this does not happen often between these two opponents, even though they're both historic programs. Now, when we look at Penn State, right, obviously we said Drew Aller's a little banged up, right? But, look, they can run the ball. We've talked about it in our other videos, right? Katrin Allen, Nicholas Singleton having good years, right? Only 101 carries, 75. So they're splitting up the carries between these two and well over 1,000 yards, all right? And they've combined for 7 touchdowns. So, for them, it's going to be getting that going early, right? You want to limit the hits that Aller takes because he left the game against Wisconsin a little early. You want to make sure you limit his hits. He's having a pretty good year, right? 12 touchdowns, 1,600 yards passing, only 4 interceptions. He's been great this season. So the key is to keep him healthy. You got to keep him healthy. And then you got to get the ball to your playmakers. Tyler Warren's having an outstanding year. Only a tight end, but 4 touchdowns, a whole bunch of yards, man. He's having a phenomenal season so far for the Nittany Lions. So that's going to be key, right? Get him the ball in space. You know what I'm saying? If the deep ball is not there, check it down to him in the short and intermediate and let him cook. So that's going to be the key kind of in this one for Penn State. And Ohio State did show a little bit better that they could, I don't want to say hang, their defense did show improvement over the last few weeks. So that's going to be important. But we've seen early on this team is susceptible to big plays. So if you or Drew Aller and Penn State, can you knock on the big plays? Can you get 4 or 5 plays over 20-plus yards? That could be the key in you winning this game potentially. So you're going to have to get the plays like that. But the key is to be disciplined, right? Take what the defense gives you. And then from there, you know what I'm saying, hit on those plays when it's there, right? Don't force it in the tight windows, right? They got a pretty good secondary. Just make sure when it's there, take those plays. Now, I seen some reports earlier this week that said basically this is Ohio State Super Bowl. They have to win this. Look, man, if Ohio State, I want y'all to imagine this. Right. Let's say they don't get an automatic bid with the Big Ten, right? They don't make it. If Ohio State's 10-2 and it only losses is to number 1 Oregon and a top ranked Penn State on the road for both matchups, are we really going to sit here and say they shouldn't be in the college football playoff? Now, yes, they are significant games, both of those, right? And probably the best teams they've played all year. But they still got to deal with Indiana at home, right? Indiana looks pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say it's their Super Bowl nonetheless. I think they still have a chance even if they did lose. They would have to win out and they have to beat Indiana, but they still have a shot to make the college football playoff even with the loss. Now, the key for Ohio State and the concern is their offensive line's banged up. They've been rotating guys in. This is not the offensive line they started the year with. So when you have that, it's hurt the running game. Now, obviously, these guys have good numbers, you guys can see here, but over the last few weeks, it's not been the numbers you would think of when you think of Quishon Judkins and Travion Henderson. Some both elite backs, but the numbers just have not been there. So that's made, to a degree, Ohio State a little one-dimensional, right? And we didn't even talk about Jeremiah Smith and also Emeka Ibuka the last few games, not getting a lot of targets, right? Between the 4 and 5 range for both of those elite players, and they got over 600-plus yards receiving. So something has to change offensively, right? And that comes from Chip Kelly. That comes from the offensive coordinator, who Chip Kelly is, in the running game. They got to be able to have some kind of balance. You're not going to go into Happy Valley and beat the Nittany Lions and you don't have balance, right? And, you're not hitting your star players. So it's going to be important that they do that. And it's going to be important that this offensive line comes to work and that they win the line of scrimmage. Like, if you're not winning the line of scrimmage, you're not going to win this game. So that's going to be pivotal. I like Will Howard. I think he's having a good year. Some people have been critiquing him. I think he's been taking what the defense gives him. I think he's been aggressive in spots. And I think he's made big plays this year. But the key is they're going to have to target some of their guys more, especially these star guys, And that's just what it comes down to. And the offensive line got to open more holes. I know they're down some key critical dudes, but you still got to be able to do your job. So that's what it comes down to for Ohio State. And can the defense uphold? Can they do what they did last week when the offense struggled, right, against Nebraska, right? Only scoring 21 points, but the defense held them to 17. That's the key, right? Can this defense step up, make Drew Aller feel uncomfortable, get some hits on him while he's, a little banged up, and force him into some turnovers? That's going to be key in this one. And you got to get your star running backs going as well. So yeah, man, that's my thoughts, man. It should be a good one, man. I think two really good teams, two elite teams. It's hard. It's so hard to pick this matchup, like who you got, who you think is gonna win. Even me, I don't know. I'm torn a little bit, but I know I got to give y'all a prediction. I'm gonna go Ohio State on the road. I'm gonna go Ohio State on the road. I think they can pull it off. I think they're gonna come in there. It's gonna be a great game. And I think Ohio State's going to pull away late in the fourth quarter. I think back and forth, but I think they're going to make just enough plays to pull this one out, and it's going to be a big win on their resume. I don't think it should affect Penn State that much either. They should still be considered a top team depending on the outcome. Like if they get blown out, that's different. But if, it's a close game and they lose, they should still be in that college football playoff conversation. In my humble opinion, they've played some tough teams this year. They got more coming up. So still think they should be in the conversation even with a loss. But we're going to see how elite that Big Ten is, man. Two elite opponents. Doesn't get much bigger than this in college football, man. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm probably going to try to have a reaction video for y'all later in the day, giving my thoughts on the analysis and on the matchup. So y'all stay here, man. But comment below who you got, Ohio State or Penn State, coming out with the big win between two really good opponents.